How important is it to love where you live? I think it's really important to enjoy the space that you're in, but let's face it, you're going to not love every single space that you live in throughout your life cycle. So let's talk about what you can do to make the most of the space that you have instead. Hello there, I'm so glad you're here today. I wanted to cover a simple topic that often comes up with minimalism, simplification, decluttering, which is the reality versus your inspirational or aspirational state. So what I mean by that is that where you are currently living or how you're currently living might be very different to that idea that you have in your head of what you'd like things to be like. The Pinterest board you might have pinned of perfectly beautifully clean pantries or beautifully decorated homes, but your funds, your budget, your lifestyle, your stage of life, if you've got little kids, may not be practically allowing for those things to kind of meet. So years ago, before I met my now husband and before we saved our butts off and moved into this brand new house that I'm sitting in right now, I lived in a tiny, very rundown apartment. Financially, I was working full-time, but I was on a single income, and I was struggling financially a little bit at this time in my life. But the thing about that apartment, and I'll include some photos here so you can see it, is that even though it was really run down, and I could only really afford secondhand furniture. I think even my fridge was a secondhand fridge, etc. But what I did is that I made sure to make the most of what I had. Now, I had a vision in my mind of this sort of Scandinavian style, but really cozy environment with lots of plants, etc. And even though I couldn't execute my perfect, quote unquote perfect, because I don't think perfect really exists, even if I couldn't bring the perfect vision that I had in my mind to life, I could get closer to it. And that's really something I'd encourage you to think about, because I really believe that happiness begins at home, and the more comfortable and calm and relaxed you're able to feel in your space, whether you share it with other people or not, the happier you're going to be. Because it's really, for me at least, my home is where I charge my batteries, where I work up my energy. And if my home is not giving me that, and for short periods of my life when I was in share houses, etc., it was quite stressful, and I found myself not being able to recharge my batteries as much as I would have liked. So back to the tiny apartment. When I moved in, it was a grubby. The previous tenant had left it in a pretty horrible state. But there were also other things that I couldn't do anything about. Like there was a big purple feature wall in both the bedroom and the living room. But what I did, instead of focusing on the things that I couldn't change or the things that weren't perfect, was how can I make it clean? So I scrubbed that apartment within an inch of its life and made it really, really nice to bring it a couple of % closer to that vision that I had in my mind. And that's a concept I really want you to take away from today's video, is the aspiration or the inspiration or the visual cues that you have of how you would like your space to look like. They're powerful tools to motivate you, but don't feel discouraged just because you see spaces here on YouTube that are seemingly perfect. They probably are not, and I'll get to that in just a minute. So what I did, and what I still continue to do, is have a vision in my mind of what I'd like it to be, and then continue to just make it 1 hour better. I love this concept, by the way, and I'll link Shannon's, I think her name is Shannon here on YouTube. I'll link her channel below, but she struggles with depression and she is very open about it, but she has a lot of content around how she manages that and how she manages her home. And she talks a lot about 1 hour better. And I love this because wherever you're at, whatever sort of money you have in your bank account, 1 hour better or even 30 minutes better can start to make your home a lot more comfortable. But what's the pathway then, other than the reality check, is basically healthy habits. So like I said, with a 1 hour better rule or anything like that, and I do this a lot in my home as well, is that things will pile up. So you'll see in a lot of my videos that things are really neat and tidy, but the room that I'm sitting in at the moment, I've got stuff on the bed, there are things lying around in piles, and that's the reality. So the other morning when I woke up was a very standard morning. It had been a busy week. I came out into the living room and there was like laundry hanging. There was stuff there that didn't belong in there. And what you can do very, very easily is to join me in the reset that you're seeing on the screen right now. So resetting your space or making it that 1 hour better can make a huge difference to how much you enjoy your space. Sometimes we just need to spend that time folding a little bit of laundry, putting things away, even if you're not doing a deep clean. For me, the 1 hour better or the 30-minute better is often just about decluttering or putting things away where they belong. My husband and I will often do a weekend kind of clean and put everything away together. And if you have a family or kids or even housemates, this is something I really recommend that you do as well, because I think a lot of people resent keeping on top of the space because they are the main person who are cleaning. But anyone who lives in a space, including children, can help make the space nicer. And I think that's really my goal, and I hope one of your goals as well, is to have a space where you can just enjoy being in it, enjoy resetting it, having only the things that you need in it. There are times when you need to go through and do big declutters or deep cleans and things like that. And there's a time and a place for that, especially including the quarterly declutter, which I talked about in my last video, which I will link up here for you as well as below. So the quarterly declutter is one of many organizational habits that you can use to keep on top of your space. Most importantly, every single person deserves to love where they live and deserves to enjoy the simple things. For me, very often, even if I've gone through periods of my life where I've really struggled financially, I've treated myself to my favorite candle. And sometimes having a nice candle and drinking your favorite coffee in your home, regardless what budget you're on, can be really, really empowering and recharging. So be really mindful of the things that recharge you and start working towards a home that fits the reality of life that you're in, but will give you balance, calm, happiness, and help you recharge to whatever you need to do outside of your home. I'd love to hear what one thing you're taking away from today's video, or what one thing you are going to go away and do. For me, right after I finish this video, I am going to clean up my office and pack up my bag for the work week to come. So that's the one action that I'm going to do to make my office 30 minutes better. I bet it's about 30 minutes of cleaning and organizing to do in here. But I hope you have a fabulous week, and I look forward to see you in the next video.